All right, here we go. Back at it again with a little coverage of HCS Fort Worth. Mikowski on the mic here, joined by my longtime duo and one of my best friends through gaming. Eli, we've been playing Halo together since 2005. Now we get to cast some incredible action between Native Red and NaVi.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Eli the Ninja here. We've got an excellent series here. We've got NaVi, who came out on top in their pool after some madness in Pool A, winning the tiebreaker due to map count, and we also have a hot Native Red that just won a reverse sweep against Native White to get here. This is, I believe, the winner's semifinals, not quarterfinals, but this is going to be an awesome series to watch.
Yeah, NaVi starting off looking like they've been sitting on their hands. Native Red looks like they've come off that hot streak of a reverse sweep on their sister organization in Native White. As we see 3 go down for NaVi. Manny looking to push up with that numbers advantage and going for the trip cap here on Solitude Strongholds. Eli, what do you think about this push into A, giving up a little bit of that C control, but it looks like Taulek has that covered too.
Honestly, Native Red is one of the best trip cap Strongholds teams in the league. They are so on point when it comes to spawn prediction and holding multiple parts of the map at the same time. They are one of the most precise spawn splitting teams as well. So I think that the idea here is waiting for a couple people to spawn and then push into A, take it for yourself, kill the 2 people that did spawn there, and then force the next spawners by the snipe side. We're seeing them control the spawns on all parts of the map simultaneously, and if you can do it, it's a fantastic strategy. The problem is not many teams have the capability to do so.
Not before putting up 150 points on the board. Was that trip cap finally broken? But great way to break it in the sense that you start the scoring if you're NaVi, but no, that's fool's gold. Native Red take it right back, and they're looking to take a trip cap right back. They've got someone in B, but Manny goes down, and C back in control potentially for NaVi, looking to put their first points in continuation on the board here.
It looks good to do so with zMightys holding the sniper, hitting a headshot in the kill feed there. If he can pick off a few more players, we could definitely see this comeback start to mount. Woo! It is a significant comeback, but if Jimbo is making plays like that, they can absolutely do it.
Jimbo almost looked fooled by that thruster. Then, through patience, was able to take down his opponent, take the thruster for his use, and used one of those to earn the double kill. Nice numbers advantage there as we see a 4v4 situation here. Suppress looking to stay alive, but goes down. That's a double for the collective of NaVi, and should give them the best chance they've had at taking a strong hold on B.
I was worried for a moment there about NaVi. It looked like Native Red actually just got B for free. I mean, this is one of the most contested Strongholds we've seen in the entire game, so it was a little confusing that they capped it scot-free, but NaVi decided, you know what, let's kill the players around it, and then we'll just kill the players in it, and then we'll cap it afterwards anyway. So I think great recognition to work together, kind of pick their battles, and understand they don't have to do everything at once. It's better to be more coordinated through a multiple engagements than to split off and do your own thing.
NaVi with control of A and C. You have to imagine they'd like B and C instead, so despite A flipping in favor of Native Red, that is all according to the plan for NaVi, as they do, in fact, take control of B and C. I like that. When you can take control of C, have someone on the snipe tower, look down easily into B and that A ledge over directly across on this side of the map is SoulSnipe with the perfect 4 shots, takes down Mighty. Glory, last member alive, and he's right there above the snipe tower. SoulSnipe doesn't know it. And because of that, oh, a huge support play there from Taulek. Just as you thought SoulSnipe was going down, Taulek says no.
Yeah, I agree with you that BC hold very strong. If you can force the other team to spawn in yard, it's pretty hard to get out. But Native Red able to break out because of the way they played that situation. One of their players went to the glass sight line while another one hit LR at the same time. They did massive damage to the players at snipe, immediately push it out, and then take it for themselves. But this game's going so fast. As soon as I finish what just happened in the last play, it's already changing. Now we've got NaVi back in control.
Snipedrone, SoulSnipe, both at bottom B and both going down simultaneously. But it's 3 going down for NaVi, 3 going down for Native Red. Taulek and zMightys in a 1v1. Do they engage? No. Taulek going to take the smart play, going to take C instead.
Yeah, by holding that space, he also influences his teammates to spawn adjacent to him, which is usually the blue side. You kind of want that support angle, which is where we see Suppress come from right now. I believe he spawned there because Taulek disengaged from that fight and just knew that if he gets Suppress to spawn with him, they have a better chance to fight out from there.
Snipedrone dropping in again to that B location, but he drops once again, losing his life quickly, sitting at 5 and 10, but hedging with 10 assists as well.
SoulSnipe has Snipe in the gamer tag, one of the few on the Xbox Live server that is actually good with the snipe, with Snipe in his gamer tag. We'll see if he can hit the shot on the other Snipe player, Snipedrone. He does get taken down after a body shot. Sniper now in the hands of Glory, though, and this kid has been impressing me ever since I first watched him play. He is who I call the Irish barcode because he is just insanely talented on an island in the middle of nowhere, just like our friend Barcode. And I feel like this NaVi roster recognized that. That's why he was able to land a spot on this team. And this tournament has he's really stepped it up and actually been comfortable. That's why we're seeing him make plays like this. He wasn't really in his comfort zone at the last tournament, I don't think, but now with more experience under his belt, he's really showing up.
Yeah, Glory Eli was kind of a raw pickup for NaVi, raw skill. Wasn't necessarily a glove fit for this NaVi roster, and we saw that last event where they placed, I think, top 12, top 16. Here they look primed for a top 8 finish, and just a note for the LVT Halo audience, kind of rooting against that a little bit, because if NaVi steal a top 8 placing, they steal that 4th point spot for an NA team, and that would be LVT Halo. So interesting to note as we progress through in this series, it does have implications on other teams in the bracket.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they've already secured themselves a very strong tournament placement, but winning this would actually bring them into winners finals, I believe.
The round before winners finals. Right now, Shopify and Optic are the only two, I believe, waiting to see who wins this series.
Oh, you're right, you're right. Okay, yes, so this is the quarterfinals. Okay, so the next series would be the one that secures. If they win this, this would put them in top 6.
Here we go. We talked about the propensity for Native Red to go for that trip cap, and NaVi down by a score of 100 or so. Feel the emphasis, feel the need to press for that triple cap as they do secure that, but not for long as SoulSnipe steps back into that hill. Takes down 3 with the collective shots from Suppress with the double kill, and Suppress gets the triple. SoulSnipe not able to take down zMightys. It's a big play as the last player alive. Does he force spawns on him as well? No, Manny does a great job. Native Red does a great job to collapse and make sure that Mighty doesn't spawn with any support. Or excuse me, none of Mighty's teammates spawn in to support him.
Yeah, right now I believe that Native Red like the situation, spawning up in a good formation to fight out here, able to apply pressure to the spawners, which are easily predicted. They get 4 dead here and are not immediately going for C. It looks like they're actually opting to hold the AB setup, let the other team spawn in. If they were to push in that moment, it would have complicated the spawns, made the situation a bit more difficult to manage. I think Native Red is one of the best teams that just decided, like, hey, let's just let them spawn there and we'll play out from there.
And I think in Strongholds, right, Eli, this is the most important game type to make a decision and stick with it, especially when you are being trip capped upon. It is your goal as the team down to make a decision, A, B, or C. What do we want to go for? You need to have that decision made with probably 5 seconds left on the respawn timer. That way, when you spawn in, you hit the ground running and you go immediately towards that cap point. If you start kind of wondering, like, oh, do we want B? Do we want C? You've already been spawned in for 5 seconds. That's just more spawn, or it's more time accruing for Native Red. But instead, NaVi do the opposite of what you had mentioned and secure B and C, but just like that, suppressed right back in that B hill.
You're exactly right. Communication, one of the most important parts of Halo Infinite in general, but especially in Strongholds. Whole team needs to be aligned and understand what they want to do in each given moment. If you start splitting your resources too thin, you might just find yourself losing 1v1s on different parts of the map. So love what I'm seeing from both sides here. Looks like both teams able to push well and effectively together.
Native Red only needing 12 seconds here to secure game 1, but it's NaVi securing another triple cap. This is a one way to come back. You stop the clock around the 240 mark, you get a trip cap. How often have we seen teams come back in this situation? It's more likely than you think.
Love what I'm seeing out of Glory. So on the side of NaVi, they were certainly forced to spawn in blue. All members of Native Red spawned in the blue area. Glory was able to pick one of them off already. I was curious to see how Native Red chose to play in that situation. Looks like they attempted to extend on the snipe side and then also fight in yard at the same time. So right here, it's working out pretty well for them.
They went for A though, Eli, and it was a delayed decision. It was exactly what we talked about, where you do take that 5 to 10 seconds after spawning in to decide, well, what do we want?
Right.
Native Red, luckily, able to secure A, but the points continue on for NaVi. They're now down by only 20 seconds.
I think you're exactly right. It might have actually been a communication breakdown. It's seemingly both halves of Native Red went in opposite directions. NaVi taking advantage, and
oh my God,
this is a tight game now. Only
oh my God,
only 30 seconds to win this.
And 3 go down, so NaVi is going to have their pick of the platter, the positioning, whatever they want on the map, it's theirs to control. 233, 242. This match heating up in intensity at the very end of this game. Glory with the flank, plasma pistol shots, pew-pew down into Manny. He goes down. 1 down for each side, and the points continue to score for NaVi. They've regained the lead. Have they stolen this game from Native Red? No, not just yet, as they find a last-second stop for their own.
Oh my god. The positioning from zMightys was good on the ledge, but he got taken down early in that engagement. That meant that they didn't have enough cover fire, and now Native Red wins.
Oh my god! That player looked like he got into the hill with enough time to potentially get another clock stoppage as Native Red win this match, and we hear a couple cheers from the LVT Halo fans.
You know what I saw at the end of that? Okay, so NaVi had all the control of the map, right? They knew that Native Red was spawning in the yard in the tram. zMightys left his position top mid or in the posters area to go in that sneaky corner on the ledge, but Native Red read it.
Yeah.
They assumed that NaVi would send a player there. They isolated that player first, killed him. It was zMightys. As soon as zMightys goes down, they have a lot more freedom to move out of that area because they're not going to get shot in the back from zMightys, and they made the most out of the situation. They got a couple more slays, got into the B stronghold, and win the game for it. And that's like meta on meta, right? Like, you know the other team is going to go for a certain play, you predict it, and you counter it to win the game. Excellent stuff from Native Red.
Yeah, the resiliency from Native Red, whether it's coming back in reverse, sweeping Native White previously in Winners Round 1, or making that almost fatal mistake to not really know which A, B, or C to go for in the midst of a trip cap from NaVi. Despite that lethal mistake, still somehow find a way to win that 250 to 249. As we switch gears here, Complexity versus Cloud9, Eli. One of these teams is finishing in top 16. That is not something I assume anyone predicted.
Yeah, so far Cloud9 having kind of a rough go this tournament. I've heard from sources that maybe Nemesis hasn't been able to practice as much as he has in times past. But either way, this team full of talent, you have to imagine they could still make it happen. Right now, though, Complexity seemingly having their number. Complexity, a more practiced team going into this tournament as well. Honestly, putting up some great numbers in scrims as well.
Complexity previously placing top 6, I believe, with Karmea. After Karmea was on a top 6 squad with Shopify Rebellion, they then placed top 12 and then have come back to secure top 6. And it's like a lot of teams are kind of going topsy-turvy between top 6 and top 12. You could argue Complexity and Cloud9 are 2 great examples of that as well.
Very true. Yeah, this Complexity roster, kind of the leftover squad, right? Like, after all the hurricane of team roster changes, kind of an interesting mix of players that I don't think many of them had ever really teamed together before in Halo Infinite until this team formed. So,
outside of Nemesis and Triton, who did compete at the Halo World Championship last year, are you talking about Complexity? Oh, yeah. On the side of Complexity, you're looking at, you're absolutely looking at the remnants of that Hurricane Storm, that roster mania. And King Nick, again, a guy I got to give credit to. I think he was on the down and out at one point this season, and then finds his way with this Complexity roster. The arrival of Karmea, that youthful, juvenile experience and energy, providing a little bit of boost, it seems like, to this Complexity roster, as they do, in fact, take this game 1 over Cloud9.
Yeah, despite being kind of new to teaming with each other, I think they have a very good mix of teammates that know how to win games, and they're showing that they know how to do it. But we're hopping on board with another match, non-stop Halo action for you guys. There's no breaks. We're going into another one.
This is like the HCS red zone. There
really
is no stoppage of action as we are continuing to see some incredible matchups. I think we're going to switch back, though, to NaVi versus Native Red, as we do have the early goings of this match here. Streets, Slayer, Rockets in the hands of Glory, looking to bait an opponent to push up. But you can see Manny jiggle peeking out. He ain't pushing up. I don't think he's going to take the bait here from Glory.
You can tell by the body language on the side of Native Red that they know the Rocket guy's lurking somewhere. They're not going to give him a free pick. All these guys know that they can kind of dodge the Rocket if they need to, force him to use it. Yeah, right here, wasn't quite able to stop the Rocket from getting a kill, but at the very least, looks like they do shut him down before he's able to shoot the second rocket. I think there was still a rocket there, not entirely sure, but either way, we see great patience out of Native Red when they know the other team has a weapon advantage.
Yeah, and it looked like for a moment, Navi fell into the trap, the bait set, because absolutely, Manny's throwing that shoulder peek out to show Glory that there is an opponent back A, get that errant rocket to just fly out, probably lower the shields of Manny, which happened, but the cleanup occurred, and the push came through from Navi on the rest of that cafe side to clean up the rest of Native Red's roster, and because of that, they got a 3-kill lead.
This Navi roster has been so good for so long, but it just feels like they've never really put all the pieces together until now, and I think it's off the back of this pickup in Glory, who was just a young talent that they're now molding into a great teams player. Now that he's getting a bit more experience, he can actually shine with his potential around his team a bit better than he has in times past. And you look at the veteran leadership of Jimbo and Snipedrone, these guys have been playing forever.
Yeah.
And I love that they're finally bringing it all together here.
Yeah, you look at the path to pro. A lot of players go through the free-for-all, maybe reach rank 1, champion 1. And the likes of Halo 5, but for Glory, his path to pro was through Twitter clips. He was just a guy that just continuously popped off and made sure to put it on the timeline, and I have to imagine the likes of Jimbo, especially of Navi, the captain, probably noticed that, noticed the raw skill. And we've seen a lot of veteran players this season, Eli, notice the raw skill and potential of players and give them a chance. It's one of the first times I think you could argue that's happened in Halo. It's usually a little clicky, you know, you usually see the same people play together, but I like seeing in Halo Infinite, there have been some new up-and-coming guys that have been given a chance.
Back in me and Mikowski's day, one of the few ways to get noticed was through the free-for-all. That's how I kind of got my career started, and Glory's here did get top 8 in one of the FFAs earlier this year as well, so he's proving like, you know what, I can shoot my gun very straight on land, which is an important skill, and then on top of that, to Twitter clips. I mean, we're in a time frame where you can really put yourself out there and show your skills, and you're exactly right. You know, a lot of these skilled players that haven't had a chance are getting chances because they're putting themselves out there. You know who my prediction is for the next one that gets picked up? Persecute.
I said the same thing. I didn't necessarily say that, but I was saying the same thing. The content creator, the self-acclaimed content creator, I'm kind of like, you might want to put competitor in the bio because you look like it.
Oh, he is.
And Persecute is. Yeah. So keep an eye on Persecute. Persecute's a guy who's been around for a couple of years now, dating back to the Halo 5 era, but he's still just a young kid, I think 21, 22 years old, got his whole life and Halo career ahead of him. So, yeah, Glory.
Just wanted to shout out Chris. Yeah, I think he deserves it. If these roster mania happens again before next season, hopefully he gets on a team. But jumping back into this one, Navi still holding on to the lead. Jimbo holding the stalker rifle. It seems like so far Navi has had a better control of the sandbox than Native Red this entire game, and I believe that's the main reason they currently have a 5-kill lead.
That's how you snowball here on Streets. You get control of the sandbox. Rocket being an important piece of that puzzle as Glory and the rest of Navi get rockets for free. Not even a single shot going in the direction of Jimbo. As we saw previously, Glory with the rockets, Stalker in the hands of Jimbo, rockets in the hand of Jimbo. Just like you said, he like too much sandbox control here for Navi.
I love that he had the discipline to not burn a rocket on that player bottom mid. He said, you know what, I might be able to just kill this guy with the Stalker. It's only got a couple of shots left anyways. Holding on to these 2 rockets. Simply holding the rockets applies a different type of pressure on Native Red. They can't just freely walk around corners. They don't want to double push things like they like to do very often. They're not going to bunch up, so it's going to force them to play differently just knowing that these rockets are in the hands of Navi.
6-kill lead here for Navi, and I agree, Lai. I think they're making one of the greatest strategical plays, and that is when you take that rocket possession past 60 seconds, the other team, if they're not really cognizant of it, could forget that it's a part of the map, thinking maybe it got burned off or fell on the ground and never got picked up, but all the while, Jimbo roams. The rockets in his hand, over his shoulder. And knowing he's going to go down, depletes the resource, knowing that it's not going to help Native Red get back in this game. That's a heads-up play there by the veteran, Jimbo.
I did like what I saw from Native Red. It looked like a player might have been kind of just hiding in a sneaky spot. That's who started sentinel beaming Jimbo in the back. Jimbo burning the rocket before going down, but Native Red doing a good job to make sure they didn't get max value out of that. Now that the rocket's off the map, I expect Native Red to be a bit more aggressive. As soon as they get any damage or a pick here, they're going to start collapsing in.
Stalker rifle was also previously depleted before the rockets. And look at that, the rockets are already back up at 15. I'm going to imagine as a coach for now, the Stalker is up 2, and what a great way to use the Stalker to get the rockets, as we could see that sandbox control start to mount for Native Red. They go 2 down, numbers advantage here for Navi at a critical time where plenty of weapons are up on the map.
Taulek Very wise to not expose himself to bottom mid. Now that they've secured a few picks, I have to imagine one of them is going to try to get these rockets, but they're still playing pretty cautious around it. Not sure. I believe a member of Native Red did get away with the rocket launcher. The icon did disappear. Not sure where they ended up.
4-kill lead, and it's held steady here for the boys from EU. Quadrant carrying the mantle for now, but NaVi, who knows? Even with Quadrant playing really well, NaVi's playing well too. They could be fighting for that top spot in EU as more and more EU competition give NA a great fight. Potentially take some series as Manny looks to take one down with the rocket, long range rocket. There goes a one a little bit closer, but he's still got Glory to potentially clean up. He knows he's waiting on that water cooler. Pushing in now, Glory. Manny in that 1v1, the patience from Glory, a newer player in the scene, exhibiting a little bit of veteran mentality there.
He certainly knows how to get kills, and that's very important in this game. Every kill matters so much. You can see the discipline that he exuded there was from the decision to shoot multiple times before going for the beatdown. Usually the player in those close quarter situations that has a little bit more patience and just hits the 2 shots and goes for the beatdown usually comes out on top without a trade. And love to see that from his POV there.
Tough sequence there from Glory as he does damage on 2 members. Enough in cumulative total to probably take down 1 player, but because it got split between 2, those 2 make out with their life. Continue on, and that's crucial in a 4-kill, 1-possession game. Don't want to approach any of those 1v2 situations, even if you are on the side of NaVi, because we know Native Red can steal this game from you.
Very interesting here. So Native Red knew that there was at least 3 members of NaVi inside of the tram part of the map, but Glory's found his way into purple and was able to get a shotgun kill on the other side of the map, which gave NaVi enough space to get out. Rockets, though, I believe went in the hands of Native Red. Shotgun's so important on this map, though. Glory playing his life so well right now.
I go back to that Shroud screen, Eli. It was placed just a little bit before the Rockets. That gave Native Red that glimpse on Jimbo to get enough damage before he went back into the Shroud screen, fired that rocket to trade out. Curious to see who has possession of that one rocket, if there even was one left. Snipedrone with the Stalker in his hand. I thought maybe Native Red had it, but instead it's NaVi. Snipedrone with that Stalker. 7-kill lead as well. Only 7% left in that Stalker, so it's almost a moot point at this point. He does enough to use that one shot to help take down the opposition.
Suppressed loves the red gun. Looked like he was headhunting that player for it. Ends up taking a back smack for it. Glory had Snipedrone's back in that engagement. Now we see Jimbo all the way back A. Looks like Native Red knows he's here with all these nades coming in. At this point in the game, though, you really just want to deal some safe damage. Any trade is good for NaVi. They only need 4 kills to close out the game, but Native Red's not going to make it easy.
40-47. zMightys looking to secure the final 3 kills here to put them back in this series, tied 1-1. Crucial win needed here for them as we have another, I shouldn't say another, but we have a standoff. Clock is going to be a factor, not maybe right now at 2:22, but here after these rockets come up, it's absolutely going to be a part of the conversation. And the conversation now goes towards those rockets. Who's able to not necessarily pick them up, Eli, but bait them? Because we know both teams want them in this situation. I'm looking at NaVi to bait Native Red because of the fact that they have that 6-kill lead.
The problem is Native Red has a much better position on the map to do the baiting for themselves. Yeah. And look at this. They got 2 kills with grenades on the side of the shotgun. Huge kills to get. They predicted that a member of NaVi would be waiting there by the shoddy window, but Native Red finding some kills. They actually got the rockets themselves. But finally, it's Glory who's going to take the rocket off of Manny, and I believe he got the last kill with the last rocket.
Oh, not before holding your breath for that rocket possession that Native Red did secure at the end. You thought maybe 2 free kills. It's going to be a 1-2 kill game into the 49, but instead, NaVi clutch up, tie this series up at 1. Now we see Cloud9 on the reverse side looking to do the exact same thing, looking to tie this series up at 1 in the Slayer on Streets. They look primed to do so, up 46-35.
Cloud9 needs this win very badly. Already finding themselves 0-3 in pools, and then losing the first game of their losers bracket. This win might be the juice they need to come back to life here and start winning some games. looks like it's all but over. Rami with the shotty here is going to be very consequential. You have to imagine if Complexity is going to come back in, or if Complexity is going to come back into this, they probably need all the weapons they can get.
Need all the lives they can get too, as they just do not have enough to work with. As Cloud9, 48 kills, only need 2 more to secure this victory. It looks like they're going to not overextend. They're going to play Team Halo here. They're going to collectively push in for those final 2 kills, and I love that there from Cloud9, thinking like, hey, we're up 50 to 36, whatever, dude. Let's just throw it. Like, they actually still approach that with a coordinated attack, and I think that's huge because, let's be honest, we haven't really seen too many coordinated attacks from Cloud9 this weekend. Getting to see our first one there as they put their first one on the board in that series, tying it up at 1. As we switch gears here once again, G1 versus Alpha Esports, one of Mexico's finest here, as G1 has the 2-0 lead and the 1-0 lead in this game.
So important for G1 to win this one. Alpha Esports in the same position as Cloud9, did not win any of their pools matches to find themselves here. G1 made it to winner's bracket but lost, I believe, against Space Station. And now looking to close this series out in a 3-0 fashion to continue their run.
Hopping on board here with Bullet. Doesn't have a lot to work with. Low shields. 2 players down on his team as he eventually goes down to the back of the headshot from Bohm. Great flank there. As Strikey looks to collapse on that C location hill. Sniper at the top for Swish. He looks to put some shots down lane. Looks like Overshield is up as well. 25.
This defensive hold from G1 while holding the hill is so strong. This is one of the hardest setups to break, in my opinion, is when the other team has full tower control during this hill. But as I say that, they get 2 kills. Might have been because resources were sent over here to try to secure the OS, but they don't get it. It's not good to lose both your hill and the item you tried to go for.
Wow.
Now they end up losing the point as well. So great plays out of Alpha Esports to capture the second hill.
And you're probably thinking when Huss grabs that Overshield, that maybe not a 2-0 lead for G1, but at least not a 1-1 tie here in this game, as Alpha Esports have found a way to not only tie things up, but they get the early rotation after the team wipe on G1 and should take the lead on this 3rd hill.
Like the positioning from that player on the big door on Alpha Esports, I believe it's Lure. He has the heat wave. He's just waiting for his teammate to call him out, turns the corner, deletes him from existence. That gun is very strong around corners, and that's why he's choosing to play the big door that way. G1 now forced to try to find another way in, but the defense still too strong on other parts of the map as well.
Huss down to low shields, does a good job getting back up the full, now in a 1v1 fair fight with Bullet, but he gets the bullets to land as he takes down Huss, pushes into A. Sepstars already in the back of it with control of it, and just like that, Eli, we just jumped on board with this game, but a shocking, surprising 2 hills in a matter of maybe 2 minutes for Alpha Esports.
I think the one mistake that Alpha made right here, though, was they should have started sending a player towards the tower before they actually finished the cap, because the team that holds the tower, you have such a high chance to cap it. You might as well start thinking about the next hill and getting in the best position to give yourself a better chance to win this next hill. But because they didn't, G1 actually gets the spawn at the tower, and even though they're getting some kills here, they're still fighting pretty hard for it, and G1 still has control.
Sepstars here on the cuts. Gonna cut into G1, but no, he goes down to the sticky grenade, landing at the feet. As Lure from the screen door looks to get that flank in, lands the double potential triple on Huss, looking likely. But Strikey gets that slay instead. It's 3 down nonetheless, and a good hold here from G1, but just like we saw on that previous hill, Alpha Esports looked prime to regain the lead.
Right there, G1 knew they were losing the overshield. Swish opting to try to grab the sniper instead, but he's also taken down. Starting to look quite good for Alpha Esports with 3 dead in the 3rd hill. All they need to do is hold this for another 10 seconds or so, and they've got a 3rd point on the board. That's going to be hard for G1 to answer. And
this is something I've noticed, Eli, and I think you can speak from experience on this. G1 is an incredible King of the Hill team, and we saw that 4-0 previously against Optics before losing up 2-1 in that series, and now we see him up against a lesser opponent in Alpha Esports, and they go 3 down once again. This King of the Hill looking likely to potentially go to the upset underdog.
I do believe that this game type could actually be one of the easier ones to come back, believe it or not, if your team is just able to get the correct positioning. There is enough time on the clock for G1 to turn this into a comeback. They might even get this hill if they're able to secure these slays right here as well.
Oh, fortunate A-door spawns on the screen side for Alpha Esports as they spawn looking immediately at the hill. G1 does a good job though to take down one and steals that hill. Despite the spawn from Alpha Esports, G1 do a great job to bounce back and tie it at 2.
Not only that, but they've also got control of the tower, so crucial for this hill, even more so than the last hill. You're going to see teams opt to fight for control of the tower before they even get into the hill itself in most cases. In this case, though, the player does go in the hill, but I'm not sure if I agree with that. He needs to help his team fight for control of the map first.
Yeah, and I think this is a win condition right here. 3 out of the 5 hills you can protect from that tower location outside of back A and green, which, I don't know, even from that snipe tower, you can get a little cheeky angle on at least the back of green. So love this strategy here from G1, looking to isolate the snipe tower to score these hills.
No, it's just the best part of the map. You also got the shroud screen right there, so if you have control of the tower, you're likely to get the shroud. If you're likely to get the shroud, guess what? You're also likely to get the overshield. So it is definitely an important part of the map to hold throughout the entire game. Even during the B hill, it's better to spawn and approach the hill from the nest side than it is from the other parts of the map. So G1 seems to know that, seems to be playing their position very well. That's why they're able to come back into this, and they might get this third hill on the board if they can keep up the momentum.
Swish, gonna get cheeky in the vents, still securing hill time as he eventually goes down, and that's an all 4 down for G1. Now Alpha Esports with that I think they might have been listening to you. Like they heard the cast, recognizing that snipe tower is the way to secure this top mid hill. Nasty bullet back there, Sepstar's back there as well. Alpha Esports now look primed, but precision on the flank with that plasma pistol.
Like I said, G1 prioritizing this control of the tower. Precision, you know he spawned on the opposite side of the map, makes a long route to get here, doesn't want to just jump in the hill and get grenaded, knows that if he can kill this tower player, his team is a lot more likely to win this hill, and now he's just going to play gatekeeper while his teammates respawn.
Tied on this 4th hill, and 2 minutes left. This is probably not the final hill that is going to be up for contention as Strikey strikes down us with the no-scope, but Swish gets to pick it up, so he goes down immediately after that. No worse for the wear is G1. You could actually argue they're in a net positive situation where they're able to secure the snipe, potentially this 3rd hill to take the lead, but Alpha Esports have different plans as they steal that hill from G1, whereas G1 previously stole the last hill. So Alpha Esports with that 3-2 lead, still plenty of time though.
When we hopped on board, it was G1 with a 1-0 lead. Alpha answering back with 2 of their own. G1 tying it back, Alpha getting the next. This has gone back and forth since we hopped on board, and G1 desperately needs this next hill to stay in this. I could see a version of reality where the timer also runs out during this hill after lots of battles transpire, but so far, I mean, if Alpha can just get a few slays right now, they could just hold the rest of this hill.
I love this recognition from Alpha Esports, not getting like too cute thinking they can just hold off this push from G1 for 2 whole King of the Hill minutes. They instead elect to play for score. I think that is so impressive. A proactive play here from Alpha Esports could have them in control of this match. They're in control of about 75% of the hill before G1 finally stepped back into it after taking 3 down. Dummy spawns and a player bottom mid, it looks like, for Alpha Esports.
During this hill, I do favor positioning on the nest. The nest can see all the different approach angles to this hill, but Huss, instead of going nest, decides to go all the way back tower, probably knows he's likely to find a flank opportunity. If he also has control of the tower, his teammates can also spawn there and approach from nest next. Leor, though, this heat wave has been so helpful for Alpha Esports. I don't know if G1 has had it at all this entire game, and it's made the difference in every situation that Alpha's come out on top.
Bullet looking to clean up the remains of G1 as they do, in fact, earn that staggered team wipe. Staggering G1 in this fight, you can even argue, as they take a game and start that reverse sweep comeback trail, but do a great job to take a match off of G1 there.
Yeah, excellent stuff from Alpha. I mean, they've just kept getting the heat wave. Honestly, that felt like the difference maker, like I said, but we're hopping back into the native red NaVi, which is currently tied 1-1 and nearly tied in hill time right now. Looks like native red have the lead, but it's NaVi that has control.
This looks just like that last hill that we saw previously before the 4th one went down. As both teams are just about deadlock tied, you probably give a little bit of an edge, maybe 5 to 7 seconds for native red. As Glory has his sights on SoulSnipe, gets the cleanup with the support of Jimbo, and earns. Wow, look at that! I thought maybe with NaVi playing on the right side for overshield, surely they're giving up hill time, but no, they get both.
The allocation of resources so strong on the side of NaVi. These guys are playing on a different level this weekend. I tell you what, I don't know if they've been inspired by Quadrant and the run that their fellow Europeans have been making, and maybe studying some tape, or maybe it's just Glory's just that guy. But whatever they had for breakfast was correct.
So,
and they are bringing it here.
I think you brought up a great point. I think Quadrant elevating their game has made NaVi do the same. Think about it like in a team sense, right, Eli? We played together, we competed together. You see me pop off, or I see you pop off. I want to pop off. I want to help the team too. I want to help the scene too, is what NaVi's thinking as they see EU rise to the top and want to get in the mix as well. And they're doing just that. Up 1-0 in this game, tied 1-1 with Native Red, a team that many people could see make another one of those kind of famous lower bracket runs like we saw at the Halo World Championships, placing top 3. NaVi showing that they're here to compete.
Absolutely. We're seeing lots of upsets this tournament. This game is so hotly competitive right now. We're entering almost year 3, Hunter, and we talk about this a lot. Year 3 of any Halo title is always the best because the meta has evolved. All the teams kind of know what they're supposed to do, and it just comes down to the icy plays at the end of the day. Both teams know what they're supposed to do. They know what part of the map they're supposed to prioritize, but who's going to execute best in each situation? Right now, NaVi surprising a lot of people, I think.
Storylines thickening, plot thickening as we approach the Halo World Championship and that prime year 3, you're right. Hey, 2009, that year of Halo 3 when all the storylines had developed, all the rivalries had developed, every player hated each other because they all teamed with each other and probably had some kind of shady Halo Kid drama go down where somebody got left off that squad, so expecting more of the same here.
Same in this game, right? I mean, how many of these guys have teamed with other players at Suppressed? Has probably teamed with just about everybody on the circuit outside the top 3, but right now, fight for Overshield going to be consequential. Kind of an early toss with the Shroud. Looks like it worked.
Wow.
And actually gave Native Red a better position to get the Overshield. You got to be careful with that Shroud. If you shoot it too early without realizing how close your opponents are, you might be helping them out.
And Eli, jumping in from the right side of cuts where you give up your angle that you got to give yourself up for free. You go in from the left side, you can actually use the geometry of the Overshield pillar and the snow globe on top to eliminate any angle on you. Didn't see that there, and despite NaVi having control of the Shroud screen, OS goes in favor of Native Red, and this hill is as well.
Manny just playing Gatekeeper top tower here. He knows he just needs to stay alive and buy time for his teammates, but NaVi's not going to make it easy. Great push coming in. I love to see players come in from both sides of the hill simultaneously. That's going to make the player top tower's life very difficult. And if they can hold this, which I think they can, they're going to take a 2-0 lead in the 3rd game here.
2 minutes on the clock, 2:25 to be exact. And that's going to give Native Red, if they were to go down 2-0, enough time to come back. But I got to imagine, talking to Manny earlier, these guys want to smother the competition. These guys don't even want to. These guys are probably pissed to be down 0-1 as it stands. The kind of energy and electricity this Native Red plays with. But Jimbo doesn't care. He gets the double kill. He got the mind the gap grenade bait double kill. NaVi impressing here as they secure, in fact, that 2nd hill. Wow.
What I just saw there from Native Red was they took all the correct positions for the push. They sent a guy back tower, they sent a guy nest, they sent a guy top mid, but what was wrong was the timing.
Yep.
The timing of the push and when each of your teammates engage is so important. SoulSnipe got there a little bit too early. Suppressed hadn't got to sandbags yet, so he wasn't able to provide cover fire from the top mid angle that's so crucial. And ultimately, Jimbo making the heads-up play, just having that repulsor in hand and being in the right position to utilize it. Great plays out of NaVi, but I'd like to see a bit more coordination out of these pushes from Native Red.
NaVi securing another Shroud screen. In this instance, they secure the Overshield as well. As zMightys looks to take to the high ground. And look at this, taking the Snipe Tower, and the hill is on that hayside location. So maybe there is something, Eli, like you said, to always having that presence at the top of Snipe. As zMightys depletes one more shot in that sniper rifle before going down. Suppressed. We saw him beelining for, I think it was the Shocker in one of the previous matches, or maybe it was the Sniper. He's doing the same here. So you talk about Sniper 1 on the team. I think Suppressed might have found that role as the new guy. You give him Snipe off the rip. That says a lot of confidence. Taulek, SoulSnipe, and Manny clearly have a lot of confidence in Suppressed. And he's showing why as he lands the body but doesn't clean up. zMightys, unfortunate there as 3 go on the board as well for NaVi. This is starting to get a little bit away from Native Red in this particular game.
It's been a little while since we talked about it, but when Mighty was top tower with the sniper, Native Red sent multiple players to take him down, but guess what? The rest of NaVi was just sitting in A getting time, so who cares if we lose a sniper? We're one step closer to winning the game, and honestly, they could choose to play time if they wanted to. It's not enough time left on the clock to warrant it, especially if you have kills on the map. You might as well get some hill time. But I mean, if they just choose to gatekeep for the rest of the game, you have to imagine it's going to be hard for Native Red to get 3 caps on the board.
Yeah, we can see NaVi here. They're still playing for hill time. They've got about half on the board, but they're going to play probably a more defensive-leaning effort. But despite that, 3 go down for NaVi. Native Red, they look primed to now put their first score on the board, and this is not over yet. This actually lines up perfectly for that sneaky, cheeky comeback. 2 hills needed, and you got 2 minutes to do it.
Yeah, and they still have control of the tower, at least for now, but Jimbo, with the remote detonation, taking down the tower player for Native Red. That's actually a huge kill right now, because this is one of the easier hills to play Gatekeeper if you have a lead, if you just have control of the tower. Jimbo, though, recognizing he needs to leave the tower to fight for OS, but once again, they kind of give the Shroud to Native Red. You have to imagine sometimes it's better to leave the sight lines open so that you can safely deal damage, and things like this don't happen.
Yeah, and that's going to be on Wonderboy, the coach for NaVi, to figure out and try to find an answer for the Shroud Screen Overshield combination, because NaVi, talk about the process, they get that check mark on step 1, getting the Shroud Screen, but that's 2 out of 3 instances where they don't have the Overshield to show for it. So something that NaVi, despite being up 3-1 here in this game, might need to go back to the drawing board on.
Another thing I'm not liking about this is that when they left the tower, they completely left the tower, and now it's Native Red that has control of the tower, which is boding very well for their chance to cap this hill here. SoulSnipe going to make it very difficult for any member of NaVi to show up and kill the hill guy.
And Eli, I'd argue top mid, I think you alluded to it earlier, top mid is one of the mixiest hills. You got grenades ticking off everywhere. That's a hill that usually takes a minute to secure, at least. Here in this instance, Native Red take it in just 30 seconds. They now have plenty of time here to tie it at 3.
Absolutely, and we see members of Native Red contesting the sniper rifle that did just respawn. I believe they got it. Yes, SoulSnipe has control of the snipe. Still holding this part of the map. They know how important it is. But NaVi's not going to make it easy. Knows this player's somewhere in the Shroud. Weak patiently finds the beatdown with the repulsor just to add that much more safety to it. But positioning good for NaVi to push here. They're going to wait until they have more numbers on the map, or for Jimbo to hit some shots. Taking that one player down and getting a body shot, so massive for NaVi's chances to get control right here. And Jimbo wisely going back to the tower just to force the spawns a little bit further away from the hill.
Yeah, well, Jimbo, earlier with that remote detonation, we saw 3 go down for Native Red. Native Red still scored the hill. Jimbo now with the snipe, 3 go down for Native Red. Do they find a way to come back and tie it here at 3? Still plenty of time to work with. Glory looking to avoid any of that remote detonation damage. Instead, shoots it off himself, but he goes down to Suppressed, who's going to push up through the pillars, but because of that melee that Glory was able to get on Suppressed, I don't think Suppressed is going to be able to push up as soon as he'd like. He should actually go down. He does. 2 go down for Native Red, 1 down for NaVi, and Manny really anchoring this back B location, but because he stays alive, he gets A spawns for Native Red. That's huge.
Absolutely. So this is why it's important to play your life. If Manny had died any sooner, you have to imagine a player from NaVi pushes up, and the rest of the team spawns all the way on the opposite side of dummies. But that one play just to stay alive a little bit longer is making it possible, while Snipedrone playing with the edge of the earth here. Has to be very careful, but this is anyone's hill at this point.
Yeah, NaVi have done a great job to bounce back after 2 in a row for Native Red on a ferocious pace to come back in this game. It's now NaVi who have the game in their hands, but it's Native Red with their feet in the hill.
You have to imagine a member of NaVi is probably going to try to overextend and contest this hill at the very least. Looks like Jimbo's the only player in position to do so, but several members of Native Red expecting it immediately shut him down. I think that 3 players were just BRing him, but I think that was his only option in that moment, but we see it tied up. So it was a 3-0 lead for NaVi. Now a race to absolutely nothing. It's all going to come down to this last hill.
And Native Red, we can hear their roars across the venue. They are starting to really feel it, and it's reflected in the scoreboard as they have mounted one hell of a comeback, now tied at 3. Just 39 seconds to go, and Native Red earned the early rotation over to the snipe tower. Thought NaVi would for sure get another roar from Native Red as they take down Snipedrone. The energy is palpable.
They know how important every single kill is in this situation, because it's going to take a nearly perfect push from NaVi, but at this point it's going to be impossible. They have to wait for the spawners, but 10 seconds is going to be, the hill's almost going to be over by the time those players respawn. These kills so huge, Suppress trades out in the kill feed, and that might just be GG's.
NaVi's going to be left reeling after this. How did they lose this game? As another roar, audaciously,
oh my,
ferociously from that Native Red roster, and I hear Manny specifically yelling, popping off. You almost think it's like a group of fans watching them on the feature station. Native Red, they're their biggest fans. Popping off, energy's at a high level, and that comeback deserves it.
Absolutely. These guys are so icy on Native Red. I mean, in just the series before, they were down 2-0 and made the reverse sweep. They do it in the singular game as well, down 3-0 with the reverse sweep in Hills. It's almost like they're just testing themselves. Like, how far can we go down and still come back?
Well, remember, Native Red, that's a team that probably one of the longest standing teams in the league. Now, they added Suppress, right? Druk unable to compete because of visa issues, but if not for that, you're looking at a Native Red roster that has 5 years plus of continuity with each other. You want to talk about confidence? You want to talk about feeling like you got this no matter what? That's what you get when you stick with your brothers. That's what you get when you stick with your duos or your thirds and fourths, even just your teammates in general. You build up that chemistry, that rapport, and we are seeing the experience shine through here for Native Red as they take the 2-1 lead in that series. Now hopping on over to another 2-1 series, G1 versus Alpha Esports. Alpha doing a great job to come back in that previous King of the Hill on live fire to make it a little bit of a series here, but G1 just need 2 seconds to win this round, but Lure has life with just 34 to go.
G1 very good on this map in general. I've seen every member of the team pop off with the shock rifle. I think that if they're able to control that throughout this game, they should get the dub. Huss probably just microseconds from winning the round right there, but it doesn't matter. The ball does go out to Bohm, who does finally seal the first round. This is going to be hard for Alpha Esports. They're going to have to play very disciplined. They're going to have good ball rotations because G1 has this map and mode solved down to a science. I've seen them make perfect rotations. I've seen them hold perfect setups. And I don't know if Alpha Esports has that much chemistry and confidence on this map.
Yeah, you could make the argument that G1's King of the Hill a little bit less dangerous than it has been previously, but on the flip side, their recharge has gotten really good. They've really improved, really put in the time to improve on this map as the time and hard work in behind the scenes is starting to show.
We did see G1 250-0 Native White in the online qualifier on their way to win that tournament, and it was on recharge. These guys know how to control spawns. I had the good fortune to go to the facility where they were practicing and watch the tape back of the 250-0, and their communication was honestly perfect. They were predicting every single split spawn. They were putting themselves in positions to gatekeep any player from getting out. Never even gave Native White a chance, and I feel like they can do exactly the same thing to Alpha Esports.
Yeah, G1's gotten really good at that cycle play as they show it on strongholds. Recharge in particular, I think even on an oddball, this is a great map to cycle. You've got multiple high ground points, low ground points as well. That pit location where the camo spawns. As Bo looks to stay alive at the back of the pillars, has 2 pushing up on the gold side. A split on the right. He gets taken down, but Precision makes sure to trade out. Bullet looking to trade out here with Precision as well, but Precision doing a great job to maintain his life. I love me some Precision POV. This is one of the best players in the league, one of the best up-and-coming players in the league.
He's really showing up this weekend, too. I've seen him pop off in the stat page many a time. There are some question marks about his consistency at times, but I feel like he's really confident in his squad, and when you're confident in the people around you, it's a lot easier to pop off. Well, that's what I see here.
Take a look at the top left, chat. The inconsistency you're speaking of is, yeah, he's only +1, +2, but look at the assist, right?
Yeah.
Precision finds a way to make an impact on the game no matter what, and that's why he's one of the top rising stars, not necessarily in that Karmea collect cycle conversation, but I'm throwing him right there in it.
I agree with you. I've watched enough of his gameplay to be extremely impressed by this young talent. Another Gears of War player, by the way, was winning or finishing in the top 3 of Gears of War tournaments at a young age. Found a love for Halo, and we love to have him here.
And I think that really bodes well. I love that pickup for G1 because you talk about something that's really like the last piece that's missing for this team to break into that top 8, potentially even back into the 5th, 6th spot where they found themselves at the start of the season is in the ice. And Precision, oh, he didn't win championships on the main stage in Halo. I gotta imagine some of that experience, Eli, does rub off on you, does give you the confidence to compete at a high level in whatever game you choose. So Precision, not a Halo champ, but a Gears of War champ, and I think that bodes really well for the rest of G1 who hasn't experienced that level of success. I think that rubs off a little bit on him from the likes of Precision, despite the fact that he's such a young player, new in the scene, doing a lot to support and really propel this G1 roster forward.
Absolutely. It's also really easy to be confident in your teammate when you know that they've won championships, so that gives even more confidence to the team around him. Yep. Plus, they're all buddies, too. I mean, the friendship buff is a real thing, and, you know, just hanging out with your boys outside of the game and actually caring about one another. You know, if you care about your brother outside of the game, you're going to do more to save his life inside the game.
Yeah, you're going to Sinbad dodge, take that bullet in the arm so it doesn't take the face of your friend. As we see Strikey get the back smack on Hus, but not before G1 earns that well-timed reset. And look at this, G1 already has position on the gold side of the map. Bone, though, is going to have to hard-fought win that. Gets a little bit of damage, though, and the Cavalry has now arrived a little late, you could argue, but Precision got to clean it up regardless with the use of that grapple.
So smart to even think to use the grapple in that situation. I mean, he was down in the fight, and he had to do something that was just slightly deceptive and catch the opponent off guard, and it gets the beatdown for it.
I think it really forced Alpha to choose, pick their poison, because you had Precision soaring to the top. He had support right behind him, so it's kind of like, oh, which one do we start to shoot? Who's the greater threat? And the prioritization of opponents. I always, when I'm playing matchmaking, Eli, I always have a 1, 2, 3, or 4 above the opposition, trying to determine who the first priority is in each and every scenario. There, Alpha Esports not able to determine who was the 1 or who was the 2.
I don't know if either decision was going to get him out of that situation. I mean, you got two guys rushing towards you with blood in their eyes, and they're ready to kill your whole team, and exactly what they did. We see them with a now 30-point lead here in round number 2. Substars, though, with the camouflage. Usually don't want your camo guy to be the ball guy, but he's the only guy in position to move the ball towards C. I like this decision because G1 has good control of the rest of the map, and that's probably their best chance to get significant time here. But I've got word from our producer. We're going to switch back to Native Red. That has been a tight series. We did just see a miraculous comeback from Native Red in that King of the Hill game, and it looks like they're off to an early lead in Recharge Ball.
Native Red carrying that momentum, doubling up on the score of NaVi. Just under 3 minutes to go in this game, so clock not going to be a factor. If anything, I believe these two teams are going to play for score at this rate. Native Red only needing 30.
This is another team that's quite efficient on Recharge. I mean, they're efficient at every map, let's be honest, but I think that these smaller maps that favor good pushes, good teamwork, good coordination, and also the ones that are just easy to predict spawns on, you're going to see Native Red do very well.
Yeah, staggered split spawns here for NaVi, and that's a result of the timing here from Native Red, in particular Suppressed, who was able to earn that staggered kill on a member of NaVi at the top of A. And just like that distraction and bait, everyone's kind of focused over on A with Suppressed, but the oddball accumulation at the back of C. Perfect play ball here from SoulSnipe as Native Red looks to make the job a little easier. You said this to our team one time last year, Eli, and I think it was one of the greatest things I heard a coach tell the team is like, guys, we don't need to play this game on legendary mode, right? Let's fire it up and play easy. Let's just wreck the Covenant, right, in that sense. So like how Native Red choosing to play the campaign, if you are HCS in this case, on easy mode.
No, there's always a correct way, or I guess there's many correct ways to play different situations. Why not pick the easiest one? You know, just, you don't have to fly in and do some crazy stuff and make a highlight play if something simpler can achieve the same result. And we love to see, that's what I would call fundamentals. Like, if your fundamentals are sound, you don't have to pull off a crazy no-scope double kill because you're not going to be in the position to need to do that because you've already won the map control. You're not going to let people get that close to you. Just play simple Halo, guys. Don't make it harder for yourself.
The fundamentals, the process, the teamwork are everything here in Halo Infinite as we see Native Red put the finishing touches on this round. Glory goes down, 2 down for NaVi. But I like how Native Red is playing this patiently. They're not desperating for that oddball, or maybe they did, to go down 2 on that A side of the map. We didn't have eyes on it, but the results are there nonetheless. SoulSnipe, though, looks like he is in fact going to secure that 100 on the board. Native Red go up 1-0 in a closeout game 4.
You hear them getting loud on the stage again.
So loud. It's insane.
You got to wonder. I mean, Mighty's not having a great game. I know he's could be getting into him a little bit. There is a bit of a meta game when it comes to the trash talk, right? Like, some players play better. If you teabag me in matchmaking, I'm gonna go forward. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go on a 20 kill streak. I've done it many times, all right? So don't try to teabag me in matchmaking, guys. But some players, you know, it can get to their head a little bit. Maybe they're not as confident. They're like, wow, these guys are really on fire, and I'm not having a good game, you know, and they might hesitate a little bit more. So that trash talk could be playing a factor here.
Yeah, we got noise-canceling headphones on, and after every single kill over the last 60 seconds, ever since we came back on board with this matchup. They have been yelling, and again we hear Native Red roars. Those aren't just the fans, that's a team as well. I know you guys can't hear it, but the energy is building for Native Red, and they're not looking to make that miraculous lower bracket run. They're here in the winners quarterfinals, looking for a berth in the winners semis. Winners round 3. Native Red doing an incredible job, especially after it looked like they're about to get swept by the Native White.
Yeah, Suppressed with another back smack. You can hear him talking trash every time they get a back smack because it's like, hey, what are you doing?
Oh my
What are you looking at, bro? I just got you. This might be a good attack.
Do it! Oh, where's the overkill? Extended timer in Halo Infinite for what? If we're not going to get an overkill there, then we might as well make it all 4 seconds.
Isn't it only extended after the overkill? I think it's 0.5 extra seconds.
So the double kill is at 4, triple's at 4.25 or 4.5, and then it goes up 0.5 for every single kill after that. So
just barely not enough time. We'll have to pull the stopwatch out, but either way, he still got 4 kills, which is what matters. The medal doesn't matter to these guys. They just want the W, and getting 4 dead in that situation means they could control the map. They've got a great setup at C. At this point, NaVi has to push into C to try to break it, and even if they are successful, that ball's just going to be at batteries, and you have to imagine members of Native Red, look at that. They're already in gold, ready to get the new ball.
Perfectly played process. Probably one of my favorite plays in the HCS is that reset oddball on the back blue of Recharge. And the reason being, if you're to replay, or excuse me, if you're to reset and play that oddball at the back of C, it's probably because the pressure and push from the opposition has either A, wiped out your teammates on C, or placed all of the opposition on C, which is guaranteed to force you a gold spawn right where the ball resets. One of my favorite plays in Halo Infinite made right here by Native Red, but yeah, NaVi win the reset instead. Jimbo with that camo, not sneaking or fooling anybody with it. Looking to see him toss the oddball off to a teammate, but no, knowing that he only had 10 seconds left with that camo, that's a good play there from Jimbo.
Yeah, he recognized that his teammates were already in solid positions. No reason to make them get out of position, just to grab the ball. Don't be selfish, get the ball time. Love to see that. They're also controlling space around the ball very well. Glory recognizing the pushes coming from long haul. You have to imagine they're going to send some of their resources to stave that push off. As we see another player pick up the gap that was left by that dead player. Unable to play the ball, though. That's might be a huge, costly mistake. You have to imagine that somebody on the team probably would have liked the ball to be played and made the call, but maybe a bit of hubris, thought that they could still win that engagement and get even more ball time, but that level of, I guess, selfishness is going to lead to a great hold from Native Red.
Yeah, maybe even a little bit of tilt now on the side of NaVi. I have to imagine they thought they had that live fire King of the Hill 1, maybe even started discussing strategies for the next game, getting a little too ahead of themselves as we're starting to see a little bit of that frustration peek through the gameplay.
Could be frustration, could have been a miscommunication, not sure. Sometimes if you're the ball carrier in that situation, you're kind of listening intently. Is my team winning this fight or are they losing this fight? Because if they win the fight, you don't want to play the ball because that means you could have held it for a bit longer. But sometimes it's not so clear based on the information you're given. Maybe that player thought that his team was winning the fight when they actually weren't.
Glory looking to push up here through the main bridge. Spot suppressed, but suppressed calls for help. Taulek, one of the main slayers in the HCS, looks to take down that member of NaVi. All the while, though, NaVi, zMightys, accruing ball time in the back, and another roar from Native Red. It's just a simple melee from suppressed, but it doesn't matter. These guys are getting hyped no matter what the slay.
I mean, I think it's those triplets, man. They get loud. We saw Diagram, so if people don't know, suppressed is actually a triplet. And Diagram, who currently plays for LVT, is one of his brothers, and then they have a third brother, Avenue, who also competed this weekend. And man, when we saw Diagram in Game 5, he was screaming, suppressed, same thing. These guys just love to yell and let their opponents know that they're destroying them, and I think they feed off that energy. There's just something about them. They just feed off of it. They get stronger. They power up. They become more powerful just by getting loud. They hype their teammates up at the same time as well.
If ever there were a time for the tools cam with that footage from the feature station, and I think he is over there, so keep an eye on the pop-off. You guys might not get a sense of the roars and yells not being here in the venue, but I think it's on Eli and I to let you guys know that we always hear yells, right? This is different, though. This is after literally every single kill. I'm surprised they're not losing their voice.
Right. And I think they're recognizing they might be getting in NaVi's head, especially after, like you said, a pretty tilting way to lose that third game. They know that any added tilt on the side of NaVi is a guaranteed win for them.
Did you see that parallel push from Native Red? As soon as the suppressed, I think it was, or it was actually a SoulSnipe peeked on the doorway on the opposite side of glass, parallel to the push. You had that player peek out simultaneously parallel to that push. Unbelievable. That's what disrupted that free shock shot at the time being, and the roar's only getting louder as SoulSnipe secures the triple. 3 down go NaVi. Oddball sitting at the bottom of Whirlpool. Glory doing a good job as the last player alive to get some perfect shots on Manny, but it almost feels like NaVi needs to play perfect Halo if they want to come back in this game, much less this series.
I think Glory is that guy I talked about that gets powered up by the trash talk. He's playing phenomenal this game, keeping his team in it. Just by getting that one slay off of spawn is actually hugely consequential in the grand scheme of things. His team had that much pressure alleviated from him. Jimbo unable to get the kill on Taulek though, and that's going to be another roar because you know that Taulek knows he should have died there. Jimbo that's barely missing the shot.
Yeah, for the OGs in chat, the Halo 2 and Halo 3 OGs, that was a classic. Oh my God, and we hear another one, oh my God.
These reversals are getting out of control, and I feel like the momentum is only building for Native Red. Every time they get a reversal, they're powering each other up to get the next reversal. And at this point, the clock is starting to be a factor. Only 40 seconds on the clock, only a 13-second differential here. So if NaVi can successfully push in and get a hold, they could certainly come back into the lead. But so far, it's traded out on both sides. Neither team really getting full control just yet.
Oh my God, oh my God. Crucial back smack there as Jimbo secures the double.
Double kill.
Doesn't have the shields to peek out, but now that the pressure comes in from Snipedrone, he does in fact peek back out, gets this oddball, and don't look now, but despite what felt like an electric roar and run from Native Red, NaVi have regained the lead.
Jimbo with a huge double kill, Snipedrone following it up with a double kill of his own. The problem that the mistake they made here though was when they had 4 dead, they didn't push into gold. That means that Native Red spawns in gold and can push into their setup for free. They also didn't rotate the ball fast enough. Now that they recognize it, they do get the ball all the way to C, which is a perfect play in this situation. Hopefully they can spawn in gold. This is going to be a mad dash to get control of gold. 10 seconds remaining. Native Red need to get some slays and pick up
Manny!
seconds.
Manny with a huge slay, able to pick up the oddball. He still has it in his hand. 77, 78. No, he goes down. 2 seconds left, needing 2. And NaVi, unbelievably, find a way to tie this series. We're starting to write their swan song of talking about Native Red with another electric series as they move on to the winter semis, but they're going to have to wait at least one more round.
Oh, you have to imagine that that's going to quiet down the side of Native Red at least.
That's what I'm interested in. That's what I'm listening for.
Yeah, because there was a lot of trash being talked during that round, and they ultimately didn't come out on top. I think that's going to give NaVi some momentum here. I want to see a game 5 between these two. It's going to be so electric if we get there. Let's see if NaVi can put the pieces together for this round.
Oh, if you watch the Michael Jordan documentary, you know from Michael Jordan himself, it's easy to talk trash when you're winning.
Yeah.
I want to, as he swings that baseball bat with a cigar in his mouth, he says, I want to hear you talk trash when you're losing. that is what Native Red is still doing. Native Red is still roaring after kills, so that's important to note. I wanted to listen for that, feel for that, if anything. And Native Red, despite losing and going down, tying this series up, was NaVi at 1. Native Red still playing with that same electricity.
You weren't on the cast with me, but Active and I, we are, by the way, aware that there's some audio issues during this. Bear with us, guys. We're trying to rectify the situation, but I mean, this gameplay, I feel like I don't need audio to know what's going on here. I mean, these guys are putting their hearts on the table. I'm sorry. Native Red specifically was having audio issues, not the stream. My bad, guys. But so I think that's going to actually.
All right, here we go. A quick break for Eli the Ninja, which means I'm going to try to solo this thing 1v8. Native Red hopping on board. Oh, look at that. I got my duo with me. It's like in Halo.
Let's do it.
Duo, Magic Moonshot, hopping on the mic, making sure I'm not on an island by myself. Sure to embarrass myself as SoulSnipe. Takes a couple shots with that shock rifle. Already depleted down to no ammo left in the reserves, but 20 seconds on the board, just about, for Native Red to start off this round 3.
No, I didn't hop in because I didn't have faith in you, but I want to see what these teams can do. And I get front row seats this way. On board with SoulSnipe as he rushes in, gets that trade. 19 seconds for Native Red, but the fight has moved to bottom mid, which normally you'd see this when there's an active camo in play, but now it's the oddball drawing everyone's attention.
Yeah, Glory doing a great job, and he's going to get, okay, there, spoke too soon. I was going to say he's going to get to the back of Whitehall with full shields, but no, the press is on from Native Red. Snipedrone and the rest of NaVi going to have to take every measure to stop this push as Manny gets the slay on zMightys. Taulek gets the slay on Snipedrone, and you notice that, Magic? The yells, the roars continue for Native Red. They don't care about the audio mishaps. They don't care about the game resets. They don't care that it's been 20, 30 minutes, it feels like, since we last had action. They are still maintaining that energy level, which is really impressive on it. Like, we're getting deeper into the tournament, getting deeper into the day, and Native Red sound like it's new.
Native Red are looking great. NaVi has looked great throughout this tournament, but Native Red kind of rising to the occasion. They could lock down this series right here. And Mikowski, since you've been kind of covering this series, what is it about Native Red that is working?
Ice, man. NaVi had that King of the Hill absolutely wrapped up, all but put a bow on it. As we got Christmas coming up here later in the holiday season. That was, but Native Red played the role of Grinch. They stole it. 3 hills in a row, down 3-1 to get the next 3 in a row. I mean, it was something else, man. It really goes to show the level of ice from Native Red. And when we were talking about it with Eli, there's a reason for that. This isn't a fluke, this ice. It's because these guys have stuck with each other for years and years and years. And then you had a top 10 potential Slayer and suppressed. That's the recipe for success.
Hoping that recipe leads to some delicious results here for Native Red if they can lock down this game. But NaVi, look at Snipedrone hiding behind the pillar on B, but the callouts are in. Taulek knows where to line up that scope off screen. Glory gets the double kill. Glory, who we saw being a menace at Arlington in the open bracket, now gets picked up by NaVi and is showing a level of consistency that is really impressive for the newest addition to this team.
I love this recognition of the oddball, the objective efficiency, you could argue. There was a shock rifle down right next to the oddball, but Mighty said, I don't need that. We need time. Grab the oddball instead of the sniper rifle. Very selfless play there from NaVi.
2 go down on each side. Suppressed might help with pinching here. Look at the trap play, but somehow even trapped between a rock and a hard play, Snipedrone finds a way to secure 1 kill before Taulek can close out that gap. And now it's that domino effect. Because Taulek didn't get that kill cleanly, he was left weakened for the next battle where he was taken down. And off of that, NaVi only a few seconds away from stealing back the lead, and it looks like, no, they're stopped just short.
We are nearly deadlocked at the 30-second mark, and yeah, just looked like NaVi was about to maybe even regain, take the lead, I should say. Not Native Red regain that oddball, and now actually start to build on that lead. 2 minutes to go. The clock starting to become important, as well as Taulek, the Walshy Purple Needles of Doom, takes down T-Square. Oh, no, excuse me, zMightys.
zMightys goes down, but the counter is in. That grapple kind of revealing Taulek's location and the use of that Needler. So that 1 play is all he's going to get from the camo, but still kept that camo out of the hands of NaVi. They haven't been able to do the same with the oddball though. Jimbo finds his way through, quickly rotating all the way to the back of C, ready for a quick reset as needed as he ensures that reset comes through. And the numbers now for the reset are on the side of Native Red. They have the map position.
And it looked like Jimbo didn't ultimately secure that oddball back, but did you see he lifted, or excuse me, he didn't lift the reticle too high. He didn't try to just toss that thing off directly into the drink. He actually looked down a little bit to give himself some time to turn back and potentially recollect that oddball.
Yes.
Ultimately wasn't able to, but I love the thought process there from the veteran Jimbo.
I might have to steal that strat. It's such a big brain play because you're hedging your bets. If I can win this 1v1, I have time to grab the oddball, but if I lose, it's gonna roll off the map.
Exactly.
So.
It was a perfect play there from Jimbo, really. But Native Red gets the reset. Huge play from them, showing off some of that ice. Just 1 minute to go, and you guys don't see any dots on the bottom of your screen if you're just tuning in to LVT Halo. Why are you just tuning in to LVT Halo? You've been watching since 10 a.m. this morning with the coffee, but this is it. This is round 3. Native Red on the brink of taking this series.
And NaVi rather, go 4 down, so Native Red are gonna build on that lead. They have a 25-second advantage and climbing. No rounds won yet in this oddball for the game 4, but Native Red want to close out the series right here. NaVi have been a dangerous team throughout this tournament, and if they start to get a glimmer of hope in this game, it's going to spell trouble for Native Red. They need to shut that door in their face quickly, and they're 20 points away from taking round 1.
Yeah, well, Navi's looks to have been falling off a little bit in this series ever since that almost like miraculous reverse sweep within the King of the Hill from Native Red. They're still talented enough. They've still played well enough this very weekend to be a team that you have to make sure you close the door on, as they do in fact have control of that oddball, taking it to the back of the Whitehall. And again, if Glory can get there without taking any damage. All right, there he goes. This looks potentially good for Navi. They look like they could maybe come back, but it's going to be uphill. Down by a margin of 2-1, only 45 seconds left.
And the reason he was able to make it through that hole with no damage is because he had teammate zMightys acting as the Secret Service, the buffer there, the guardian of the oddball. Native Red, they break through though. They find the kills, and even more importantly, they prevent the reset. They know that's round 1. We can hear the fans already cheering for this first round victory. Native Red, 1 oddball round away from sending NaVi into that lower bracket.
Wow. No, that was it. That was it. That was actually a
after the reset.
Audio. Yeah, the audio went out for Native Red, so we had the reset, had a clean reset in round 3. Native Red went in outright to take the series 3-1. So NaVi will now go to the lower bracket, and that's really tough. NaVi was here in winners round 2, I believe, via pool play, and I always feel like if you don't, or is that not correct?
No, you're
I'm
right.
pretty sure.
NaVi ended up first in pools
right.
because it's a 3-way tie between them, SSG, and LVT.
Here's the thing. You earn that first place in pools, all for naught. It's almost like you got second or third, because now here you are in LR2. So